Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. We're revisiting something we did last week, that is to say, a conversation we had last week. Of course, the guests are different, but I'm talking about Abia State and, of course, the allegations that came out of there as, published by the EFCC. Monumental sums allegedly purloined from the treasury of Abia State government. Now, since then and now, we made the point at that time, but I get ahead of myself, my manners. Forgive me. Let me just quickly introduce my guests. Mr. Sheyi Adeyemo is a publisher and public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed, my pleasure.
Thank you.
And my dear friend, Monday Onyekachi Ubani, former second national vice president of MBA, and an indigene of his beloved Abia State. Good to have you.
Yeah, Chief, it's always my joy to be in your program. I'm happy to be here this morning.
Thank you very much. Now, as I was saying, I made the point when we first of all tackled this subject last week that, okay, EFCC had put this out. So it was a grievous allegation, but it was an allegation. It concerns the immediate past governor, that is the second Oji, who is now a senator, not the first Oji. First right. Oji is now convict in jail. But the one that followed him, his chief of staff, not a relative, no relation, and the Honorable Speaker of the Abia State House of Representatives, Honorable Chinedu, Oji. All these allegations of stupendous amounts of money that they are alleged to have purloined. Now, the point I made at that time was that wasn't it fitting for those concerned to step aside, as we would hear in other climes? One notices that since EFCC put that matter out, neither EFCC, unless I missed it, have put anything else on top of the matter, neither has the state government also commented, and one begins to wonder, say, is it more or less like, let them be talking, let them have their say, it doesn't matter? Because one would have thought that stepping aside in a case like this, or at least showing that something has happened or that we are addressing this whole matter, EFCC no doubt must be working on it. But why are they still carrying on as before? Let me start with you, because I think I should give you the first, the opening shot.
Yeah. The position of things in this country is that we have had serious and grievous allegations against public officers, and in which one had expected those officers actually to step aside temporarily, to allow unhindered investigation to be carried out. But unfortunately, we have not developed that culture here. I mean, we have had instances. Remember the former Senate president in the person of Bukola Saraki, to the extent that even his trial, went on while he was still sitting as the Senate president, despite all the hues and cries that he should step aside. The allegation.
So it's something of a Nigerian thing.
So it's a Nigerian culture. It's a Nigerian thing. There has been several allegations against public officers in this country, in which some of us would have expected that the person will step aside for the sake of integrity, for the sake of his name and reputation, and then having justice, to prevail in terms of allowing investigation to be done so that it don't compromise the system. But over time, we have not seen it here. So it's not a culture that has been developed here.
Could it be fair to say that because it is an allegation, yes, not an assertion of guilt,
yes,
therefore they're saying, look, anybody can assert, anybody can, charge.
But what we have seen over time in other developed crimes is that if whether it has substance or not, so far there is anything by allegation, so you don't want anything
public officer.
Yes, public officer. You don't want anything because you elected, by the people. And if the people are saying there is something that has to do with your name, you don't want anything that will tarnish it. Let them have unhindered access, to actually find out whether what they are saying is true or not. So people in those Senate claims will just step aside. But here, it's a culture that people even will tell you that you have nothing to, nothing will come out of it. They will even be boasting while on top of it. So that may be the reason why it will be a Herculean task, to actually see senator or speaker, resign. If they do, they will be setting a new precedent, which again will have a good name attached to them, for doing that.
Yeah.
But I have not seen it happen so recently. We have had one or two instances where people who also have resigned when their names were mentioned in anything that has to do with allegation, but it's very rare.
Even if they don't resign,
Yes.
I guess that's why we're saying stepping aside.
So that you can have a
yes, because people have deputies for so many different reasons, and this might be one of them. The Senator Orji, the two senators, well, there's only one Senator Orji who is sitting down now in the Senate. Even in that august assembly, it's like everybody is just continuing with their business. Nobody is raising any order of the day or special business. And this grievous allegation against our brother, the distinguished, was made. No, it's like, is it an esprit de corps kind of a thing?
No, I think we then, as the Fourth Estate, are beginning to do our jobs better by making this something that we would not just touch and leave. I think it's good that this station have decided to do this, to sort of do a revisit. I think other people should also look at that extensively, because at the end of the day, what we need to do is to define the office of the people. Like lawyer Ubani said, look, this is a public office. It is the people's. So we should treat it as such.
And it is a serious allegation because it was by no less than EFCC. This is not a private citizen.
That came up. So we're not talking about a whistleblower.
Yes.
We're saying that the authority that is concerned in taking charge of corruption in Nigeria have said this is something
these charges we're investigating.
We're investigating it. And so it's important. And I guess it's something we also need to look at as a people. Can we then introduce this into their investigative procedures? In other words, when a charge is raised against you, maybe one of the things to do to help them, since they would not find it easy to resign, is to put it as part of the procedures or proceedings and say,
don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about resignation yet.
We're saying
because
that.
resignation will come about when it is decided that they are indeed guilty of the charges. But in the meantime,
whatever
in the
would
meantime,
aid a proper investigation that will make it easier. And we probably could take advantage of a time like this to also say that, look, when something like this happens, I think it's also in order for them to be more explicit in the way they speak to it. Because this culture, again, of just keeping quiet and keeping mute, I think it's become a tradition in Nigeria. Because I think, for whatever it's worth, you have access to giving a press release, to speaking to the people, to speaking to the matter. Because this is grievous enough for you as a speaker to say, look, I have heard that this has been said against my name.
Yes. Right. And how about a distinguished senator as well?
You understand?
Ditto.
Yes.
Ditto.
That's right. So I think it's important for him or them to speak to it as public officers rather than just keep quiet and treat us as being, nothing will happen. So,
well, I don't know that they are saying nothing will happen.
No, by their gesture, by their disposition.
It can be read as a gesture.
Yes.
The fact that they have not offered. Remember, there was a time, totally different circumstances, absolutely different circumstances, but Vice President Osinbajo has said he would waive any immunity that he had that was accrued to him, that people can investigate whatever the allegations are.
That was very good.
He didn't need to because nobody took him up on it, but he voiced that.
It will help.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
When public officers actually recognize the responsibility and then their role, in society, that they are representatives of the people. That is the people's mandate that actually put them there. And that issue of accountability is key. It makes you to, bear that responsibility by explaining, by saying, okay, if this is going to cause, let me step aside in order to allow. In fact, the right word is recuse, because you can still come back to that position. Let me recuse myself from this. Let them have this investigation carried out because I need to clear my name. People must be serious about clearing their name because reputation matters, especially when it comes to issue of leadership. And so, keeping quiet. We don't have any rebuttal from their side, and then EFCC thereafter have not made any further comment. So I think also maybe they are also doing it because of the fact that they don't want to engage in press trial. which is also good. I believe that EFCC is doing a thorough job with regards to this
You
case.
would know
Yes,
better than me because you're
Yes.
a lawyer in
Yes.
this regard. But EFCC, I don't know that they can do more than they have done, which is to say, publish out there that, look, in the course of our job, this is what we're working on now.
That's right.
This is noteworthy.
That's right.
And they mentioned those figures. In fact, our friend and regular viewer, Reverend Dominic, had objected. He had said that, look, yeah. No doubt some mischief has gone on, but he doubted the humongous figures that were quoted in the EFCC allegations. As he put it, Abia doesn't have that kind of money.
I wish he knows that Abia, they couldn't have put out those figures, from
They
nowhere.
wouldn't put it out
Beautiful,
carelessly.
and they even gave graphic explanation as to the accounts. 100 and something accounts.
Very, very detailed.
Yeah, and they even gave the account number, so it's something that is verifiable. And they also gave the amount of money that were in those accounts, some in dollars, some in pounds sterling, and others.
And the electorate in Abia, for example,
Yes.
let's say they are not complaining about their speaker. That, look, you can't besmirch our speakers. Speak one way or the other.
Yes.
Nobody is saying anything.
Nobody's saying anything. So, there is this culture of silence, which over time, has become like cultural in Abia. If there is a state, that I would think
Abia or
is
Nigeria?
No, other states are redeeming themselves. A state like Imo, you don't joke with them politically. A state like Anambra, I'm talking about southeastern region now. You don't take them this and another, because they will always wake up at appropriate time to tell you that you are there.
But Abians take things a bit easy in what you are alleging.
I don't know whether easy. I don't know when you say easy is the right word. The naivety is unprecedented.
Let me take Mr. George, who has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
And good morning to the guests.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, I remember Barrister Ubani has spoken on several platforms that I heard him about the rate of underdevelopment in Abia State. I'm surprised that same Abia State, that one man or two or three men could have that amount of money in their private pocket when the people themselves do not have any development around them. I don't know why Uncle Yori is surprised that it is just business as usual. A man who was deputy governor in Abia State at a time this mismanagement galore was going on is the same person who is now a minority leader in the Senate, asking the president to resign for non-performance. Is it not an irony? So we are getting used to it, but it's not an ideal thing.
Yes.
Integrity is not in our governance because elections are not real. The public officials do not think that they owe the electorate any responsibility because they believe they can buy their way and get into office. If elections are credible and it is people that are popular, that are voted in, they will feel a sense of responsibility. Oh, if I go back to these people, they may not vote for me again. Let me clear my name. There is just nothing like that. I think it is worrisome.
It is.
The EFCC should waste no time in charging these people to court with, full investigation and make sure they go to jail. Uncle Yori, don't forget, there is a senator that was jailed from that same state. He was governor. But as I speak with you, his salary is still being paid. The post he was holding in the Senate is still reserved for him. It's a shame.
Yeah, but we can't know that for sure, to be fair to the system. We can't know that for sure.
That the salary is still being...
Yes.
Is there a new chief whip in the Senate now?
Okay, then.
It's obvious, Uncle Yori.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. I hear you, but we can't know that for sure because, quite frankly, I don't just think it would be me. I think Nigerians would be shocked if indeed that was the case because
I think his argument is, so why have we not had another re-election if he has been jailed there's a need for that office
Yes,
or
but-
seat to
yes,
be occupied.
but-
Why is being left?
Yes, but that's not the same as saying, because
No, I'm not saying, I'm not agreeing with it.
yes,
I'm saying that
yeah.
when you leave things like that,
This is the whole point.
You
So,
know,
and
you'd-
meanwhile,
you
we're
would-
fighting corruption.
Yeah.
You know, the nation is on this offensive against corruption. And so it doesn't square, is the point we're making.
Yeah.
Sometimes our behaviors don't square
Yeah.
with the purported thing that we say we're doing of fighting corruption. How can the Speaker in the Abia State House of Assembly, how can it not have been brought up by his colleagues?
They dare not in Abia.
You see, they dare not in
not,
Abia.
yeah.
That's
In
the
Abia,
problem.
they dare not
Even the distinguished senator self.
Yeah.
How can it not have come up? Because Mr. George just made a point.
Yeah.
Somebody from that state, you know, is among those saying that the president should come and resign.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's like a comedy of errors.
Yeah, that is a point. That's the point. That's why people, even with Nnamdi Kanu too, and this Abari Bay of a person, they are saying you were once a deputy governor, and in your state, there is what you call absolute lack of development. And it's very obvious. If you go to Abia, you go to Mahia, those states, you know, cities are still wearing what you call rural, look. You know, after 20-something years of, democracy, serious democracy from 1999 to date.
So this
If
is
you
the
go to
underdevelopment.
Mahia, sir, it still looks like a village. You go to Abba, the roads are still in the worst, state. But then there is a state that was carved out of Abia, and that is Ebonyi State. So if you go to Ebonyi and come to Abia, you will weep. Even though
You
as
see
a
the
non-Abia, you will weep for us as a state. And I've been saying it.
Yes.
that-
One moment, please. Mr. Kennedy in Port Harcourt. Good morning, sir.
And to your guests.
Okay, thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to you, Mr. Yori, and your guests in the studios. Good morning.
Thank you.
to both
Good
of them.
morning.
Morning.
There's this thing I always like telling myself, and I would like to put it out this morning. You see, not every one of these so-called honorables are what we call that name honorable. Because take for example, let us look at the British Parliament. An allegation as flimsy as just a few £100.
Yeah.
The very first thing you notice they do is just to make sure their name is clear. They resign, not even stepping aside. They resign. We are talking of money that in no way can be compared to what people are alleged to have stolen in this part of the world. They resign because the name to them means everything and not the money. So if these so-called, whoever they call themselves, are actually honorable, Mr. Yori, the most idealist thing they will do if they have respect for themselves and their name is to simply step aside.
So that they
And then,
can
look,
have their day in
I
court.
have not done this. I have not done this. And for me to clear my name, I want to step aside and allow you people on in that investigation. So that at the end of the day, I come up clean.
That's
and
the
besides,
point.
when you come up clean, your people will now even be more willing to put you there because they know you are trustworthy and they can trust you with their money.
That's right.
So let us stop addressing these people as honorable. And to EFCC, why not EFCC go the whole hog? If they've been able to come up with all of these allegations that they can prove, why not them go the whole hog by taking it legally?
Yeah.
And then force these people to vacate their offices and have them pay the penalty for their crimes. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for calling. And I know, most Nigerians might also get emotional about, but I don't know that the EFCC has that power. But you see, nobody can do it alone. It's a whole system, the whole architecture of this our fight against corruption is seriously wanting. If the EFCC has made this announcement, shouldn't other systems kick into gear? Wait, what? This is documented. This was not a private citizen who has a vendetta against somebody. This is EFCC who didn't come out, hearing about it today, come out tomorrow. No, they took their time to investigate it and are now saying that we are formally telling Nigerians that we have found this, this, and this. And then for those people to say, so what? And then continue with their business. And then, damningly, the people that put them in office are not asking questions, especially in the State House of Assembly. Those people that voted them are not saying, honorables, how now? What's going on? What do you have to say to this matter?
Exactly.
You better step aside so that we can investigate this whole thing.
I mean, so talking about the system and the people, if we look at the things.
So I don't think. Did you want to comment briefly, and then maybe Ubani will also comment on
please,
the point that EFCC should have gone the whole hog.
Yes.
Can EFCC can't force anybody out of office.
Yes.
They can only tell you what their brief,
yes,
that they are discharging their own brief.
Yes, yes. But you know, this is a criminal allegation. And so one would expect that agency that has come up with these facts, you know, that has carried out that investigation, to ensure that, you know, you go the entire hog in going the trial process and get that person convicted. It's at that point that every other agency now comes in order to do their duty. Because there is no way you will do anything with regards to a man who is presumed to be innocent, because the law says anyone who is accused of a crime, no matter how grievous, is presumed to be innocent until. So it is now the time for every Nigerian, for every Abian, to really kneel down and beg EFCC and say, this time around, please, can you go the entire hog?
Prosecution.
Yes, please. Because since you have the facts, you have enough, is enough. But make sure that you do your investigation thoroughly and get all the ingredients of offense, because most times you lose cases because if you don't get these ingredients to tally to the charges you are preferring, the man goes scot-free because it must be put beyond reasonable doubt. So please, I will begging you, be very, very mechanical, be very, very scientific in this your investigation, and come out with trial process which Nigerians will want to watch how this goes. Because as somebody has rightly pointed out, I've been in the trenches about Abia. That Abia is highly underdeveloped. That the kind of money that comes to other states, you know, and that Abia is an oil producing state, there is nothing concomitant that shows evidence of development. There is nothing that shows that there is real leadership in Abia State for over 20 years now. So let's for once, you know, get things sorted out well. Okay. You know,
Reverend Dominic. Good morning,
Chief Yori.
Good morning. Why this deafening silence in Abia?
The silence should also blame for my brother in your studio. Barry Ubani is a known voice. Barry Ubani's voice cannot be ignored. Just he said about Imo State, where I come from. Let's tell a short story in a few seconds. 2 years ago, I went to my state government. I went to legislature to see the speaker. Do you know what they told me? One of the clerks there laughed at me. He said, sir, you cannot come there. That day was on 18th, 19th of that month. If you want to see speaker, come on end of the month when they come to collect their salary. They don't stay here. So that day I made noise to the state house. That's another story. If there's a silence in Abia, you should blame it to my brother there, my good friend Ubani.
But he's just one citizen of Abia now.
No, yes. Listen to me. Everything starts from one man. One man brought problem to the whole world. One man brings salvation to the whole world. What we are doing in Imo today, no, it will start from one man, sir. If Ubani's voice cannot be neglected, he can write, he can talk, then we go as time goes on.
I hear you, Reverend. I hear you, sir, Reverend. But
yes,
you will be the first to tell me in a different context that it's not a one-man job. Everybody's shoulder must be put to this particular effort. We are saying, and you yourself know, that there isn't this uproar. I hear what you're saying, that look, Ubani is a commentator. He's a known voice in Nigeria. But the ordinary people that voted for these people, why are they not demanding an explanation? That is the point we're making, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. Just like also in Imo, just like also in Lagos, not everybody is well strong.
Okay.
Let me say this. Do you know what it cost me to speak out? At times I had to flex. At times after making a comment in TVC, I had 1,000 voices talking to me, right or wrong. Okay. So to speak out, you need to need to be strong.
Yes.
You need to start with that for Nigeria.
Okay.
And not everybody has that. If you go to Abia State, if you go to the state house, you weep. That the road that leads to that state house was a narrow road in 1980, where it was under local government or secretariat. That narrow road, the former Archie, who is in prison now, put in the block demarcation. The day I went there, my vehicle could have crashed on that road. So I went to that state house. What happened is that they kept quiet. But one man can start that campaign.
Okay.
Great awareness.
All right,
Let me
then.
go to somewhere. I don't want to speak for the guy about the state. I've seen him wrote in a particular, newspaper that he goes to office every day with resignation letter.
Okay.
That if his colleagues wanted to resign, it's at the same time.
Okay.
By the way, so we're talking about the individuals here. The one in Senate has no immunity. No immunity.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in. But I didn't want Onyekachi Ubani to be picked on just because he happens to be an Abian. Yes, he's a commentator. He's a known voice in Nigeria. But the larger point that we were making on this program is that I imagine hundreds of thousands of people would have voted. And so this is not the kind of thing they would have voted for in the case of the two orgies, the father and son orgy. And that we haven't read of any protest demanding an explanation, and we've made the point that I don't know how much on track we are when somebody said that EFCC should have gone the whole hog. I don't know how EFCC can force them out of office. EFCC can only, until EFCC begins to prosecute.
That's right. And convict them.
But the point has also been made that, well, the former Senate president in the last regime was going from his desk as the Senate president to answer.
And he was being accompanied by senators.
And he was accompanied by other senators. Yeah. So it looks like a joke. This whole, it's...
maybe I need to comment here.
Sure.
Now, clearly, first I would want to say that, look, we can't do everything. So Barrister Ubani, without standing, here to advocate on his behalf, he's been commenting. Even one of the
somebody just
said that, look, I've had him severally and all of that. So he says that. What does other people do?
Where's the critical mass?
That's the point.
Where's the critical mass?
So it's critical that as a people, we need to start to say to ourselves, this public office is strictly meant for people with high integrity.
That's right.
If we do not criticize or start to be very emphatic on that,
but we're
not going to get...
people we're talking about are not people of high integrity. Nothing, Barrister Ubani has guided us that innocence is presumed. Yeah. But the point is there's a slowness in bringing them to court to prove this one properly. I've got to go off on a break now. I'll be right back and we'll continue. Please stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back and straight to Arochukwu, where Mazi Okorafor has been waiting for us. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Indeed, thank you very much. Mazi, how do you explain this silence in Abia?
Let us face reality. After Sam Mbakwe, of later memory, and after Ogbonnaya Onu, after that, those people, there is nothing like governance in Abia State. Now, let me tell you, Ogbonnaya at least did something before he left the office. Now, since Ogbonnaya left, others started coming, all those are named them to president. Do you know that today in Abia State, my own twin sister, my own elder sister, some of them, they are being owed pension, some 28 months, some 12 months, some 18 months, up to today. Now, you ask yourself, all those money made for pensioners, who are responsible from that step to date, even the roads. Now, come to Abia. Abia is, that's when we talk about Abia is the capital of Abia State business. That is when you talk about business in West Africa, Abia. There is no good road in Abia. Are you talking about Area market? Are they saying not that there is no money budgeted for? When you come to Abia during rainy season, you swear never to go to that place because there is no road at all.
But Mazi, Mazi, we know this because you've told us before. Ubani has been telling us. Other citizens have been telling us. Now, in the light of this, grievous allegations.
Not the question of I told you. You see, federal government should inform all those things people listen. You know that 3 years ago, there was a write-up in National Daily about this issue. The Abians were dragging into that the EFCC ignored it. Why did they ignore that from? Because had it been EFCC stepped into all this is right from that time those writers were going on national days. All this is could have been settled by now. At least some pensioners could have gotten their money. Okay. You know, even the chairman of the pension, he died because there was no money for him to go and say, come on, look, Mr. Yori.
But are they protesting? Mazi, the point I want you to address is that are Abians protesting this grievous allegation that how can those public officers continue without stepping aside?
It's not a question of, I blame the federal government. That is why I'm raising this issue. That 3 years ago, 2 years ago, they raised an issue on the national days. Why didn't the EFCC take action? Okay. Why are they coming now?
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Mr. Yori, hello, sir.
Yes,
Let me tell you. It's not that, no, I'm not sour because I'm under you. Because you may decide to cut off the line. That is because you're in charge.
No.
Now, Mr. Yori, let me tell you. If EFCC wanted to solve this problem, they could have done that since all this issue of separate aside couldn't have come in. Now, the EFCC should explain to us, Nigerians, why didn't they follow up that letter? I want to ask EFCC that I am asking them question. Those rights of, didn't you see it? Why did they go up on that? Why are they coming now? Because now where many souls have gone to grave, come to Abia, Cameroon Road, Ungwaroche, there are schools there, no fence, no toilet. People come to that school to defecate, which is detrimental to the students of that. Is it water? Pipe-borne water in Abia are being commercialized. People will bore home.
Okay.
In short, it's too numerous. May God help all this country. EFCC should go back and bring all those municipalities who were complaining and find out the solution to that now. And find all these issues we are talking about. Somebody will come and see you, give him 10 years imprisonment. Not being paid. They should bring out that our money now or never. If they don't want to bring out, they should stop about all this investigating what? You have evidence and say, what are you investigating?
All right. Thank you very much, Mazi, as always. Thank you very much for your valued contribution. Well, I wasn't too happy with the answer I was getting from him, but I also understood him. Because my question was that, are there no societies, civil societies, or people saying that, wait a minute, this honorable speaker, you got to say to us, say something. Say it is a lie. Say it is my traducers. Say it is political enemies. But deafening silence.
Yeah. What has happened over time is that there is a lot of threats and intimidation going on in Abia.
Okay.
Even when it was as bad as when Oji was in power. If you go to this newspaper Free Readers Association, that is where politics, is actually being discussed. I don't know. It happens all over the country.
Yes.
If you mention anything about government there, people will be looking at you. This man wants to die. Even under T.O.G's administration, people are so scared. People are cowed. You know that even when this news broke out, the entire newspapers in Abia, that was reporting this thing was bought up. No single radio, just hear me.
Yeah.
No single radio or television has ever mentioned this issue of this, allegation.
That allegation.
Yes, up to now. This only on peripheral level. Nobody has come up. There is so much fear. I don't know.
So you're not going to get the protest that I am saying.
You may not be able. If you get it, it's God's grace, The point is that the people are so cowed. These guys are controlling them not only physically but spiritually. That is, it's only state that is so cowed with a lot of intelligent men and women. The most educated people in this country are from Abia. A lot of big men in this country are from Abia. But what they do is that they settle the leaders. Give them every month they have the allowances. So they can't in any way instigate anything. They can't say anything. If you even dare say it, they say, how dare you? How dare you? They look at you as somebody. Are you?
So it's a dangerous enterprise.
It's a dangerous enterprise.
Kunle in Kaduna, good morning, sir.
It's a dangerous enterprise. That's the right word.
Kunle in Kaduna, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori. And good morning to your guest, Mr. Sheyi, and my mentor, Barrister Ubani.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I call him a legal and character icon. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The issue we are discussing, we are not here today. We have been seeing that these people should step down, talking about names, integrity, whatever. On whom would they have integrity? Is it on Nigeria that we ourselves, that we are waiting to become like them? A lot of youth today are worse than those people we are talking about. I used to say something within my people that are ruling us now, They are not the ones that are in us in 1960. They are not there in 1950.
So wait, Kunle. So what has happened to our war against corruption? Because what you seem to be saying is that which war? Those people that should be waging the war are envying those ones that are busy looting us, waiting for their turn. That's what you're saying.
We don't have anybody that is waging war. Even when you ask EFCC to go and collect money in somebody's house, they will pick from it, they will declare the rest. So they can, what I have to tell you is that if we have people, if we have a sane community, where we have somebody who is insane, as of that person we have shame not to come back home. Don't forget that this is what we are talking about now. If the Oji went back to Abia now, they will be welcomed by drums and by trumpet. So that shows our
okay, thank you very much, Kunle. So the point he was making there.
And it's, you see,
because
me,
it was a bit depressing to me, because he said who is fighting corruption?
So, at the end of the day. So I think this is something we need to...
It's like he's saying, what corruption are you fighting? What corruption?
As a people. I think it's something we need to take very, very seriously. So with private people and people who work in organizations like this, they have their key performance indicators. I've always asked, so where or how do we measure the key performance indicator of the public servants? Because those are critical things. And those are things we need to bring to the table. Because you see, if we do not clearly, and that's the only way to determine and make sure we get value from all of those people.
But how do you do that? In a corporate organization, yep, you can, the administration can set it up properly. You know. But in a political organization such as that,
have we asked ourselves ever before, what does a governor, what do we expect from a governor? So what do we expect from a Speaker of a House? Do we know? Are we able to determine it? Are we able to ask questions? Are we able to query some of these things? Because if we don't know...
But you know the answer to all those questions you're asking now. You yourself, you know the answer to all those questions.
The answer is we do not know. And so we should know. Those are things, if we're talking about...
In the light of the fact, and I think I should use the word fact, that we are fighting corruption, I'm saying that I'm a bit astounded that that kind of an allegation by no less than EFCC...
You can't fight something you don't know. So
has gone unremarked by the entirety, apparently, of the Abia citizenry. And now, Onyekachi is advising me that it can be a very dangerous enterprise. Mr. Joshua in Irewolide, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Thank you very much. You sound a bit exasperated.
Me, no problem. I have already told you that corruption should be a national culture. Well entrenched in our constitution.
But look at the silence. Joshua, look at the silence.
I said I have told you corruption should be in our constitution. They should stop wasting our money. We have meager resources. We borrow money and be wasting money celebrating thieves. And then now all these people they are alleging have stolen money will become celebrities. That is the point. You will see them being celebrated in media. Everybody now they will give them one chieftaincy title upon our money. Why don't we nationalize corruption? Why?
No, we can't.
What is our problem? Why? People are being killed for asking questions.
Yes.
You see, Barrister Ubani is one man, but I can tell you he has a family. He will save his head. If he shouts too much, they will come after him.
Or anybody is what he has said. He knows the terrain. He says it is his considered opinion that perhaps people fear that it can be a dangerous enterprise to now come out and be protesting that we want to have your comment one way or the other. So
is very, 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 very dangerous. Very dangerous. You see, the corruption is owned by the people. Those that are in government are just representing the character of the people.
So, sorry, sir, for what you just said, it therefore means that unless and until the people say no more corruption, then corruption will be on the way out.
Uncle Yori, absolutely. Absolutely. See, in our local communities, we see what is going on. Little money within the estate, some people gather themselves and chop it. And we see some people who are protecting them. If you say anything, they will say, God punish you. They are waiting for their turn.
Well, maybe those who are fashioning, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Joshua. Well, those who are fashioning the strategy in this war, just like the war against insurgency is going on, there are people fashioning. Those who are fashioning it, hopefully they are also listening to all of this. And whereas we're parroting that we're fighting corruption, a point that I don't think we can just throw away is being made that unless and until the people say no more to corruption, that's when corruption will be on the way out.
Where was?
But because there's an allegation now.
Yes, that all of us
are culpable, all of us are guilty.
Absolutely. So we need to start to ask ourselves the interesting thing as a people.
And that's why we're quiet.
Going back to our history, it is interesting to note that we were not as corrupt. And so the question we need to ask ourselves was, what was the awareness? What was the knowledge? Why did people then say, this person in this estate or in this area is like this, and there was a pointing. But right now, all of a sudden, it is those people who are corrupt that are celebrated even in our local areas. So those are things we need to start to understand. That's why I said, let us all bring to the table what is expected of the chairman of even the association, so that when he starts to veer away, all of us will see clearly, and it is easy to identify.
But when you're doing your campaign, your campaign, everybody is going to say, I'm going to be a holy angel once I arrive. Nobody is going to say to you that as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to be ripping off.
We all know system. That. When
Mr. Yakub, sorry for keeping you waiting, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, very good morning, sir. And good morning to Barrister Ubani and the other guests.
Good morning, Noga Yakub.
Let me start by saying that I got to disagree with my brother, Reverend Dominic, my friend, that Barrister Ubani is also silent. I disagree with him. I follow Barrister Ubani everywhere, anytime I have opportunity to listen to both radio and television stations, not only even TVC. He always shouting that Abia State is underdeveloped. It can be, maybe it is only one voice that people used to be heard. It is unfortunate that President Dominic does not.
But Ubani is only one voice. Where are all the other Abians? Why are they not angry?
Chief Jori, Barrister Ubani just said it earlier, that people are afraid of their life.
Okay.
It is only because Barrister Ubani itself is always staying in Lagos much more than the time that he spent in Abia State.
I was in the village here recently. I go home regularly too.
Yes,
God is my protector.
Barrister Ubani, you go village occasionally.
Yeah.
You spend some months occasionally in Abia State.
Yeah.
I don't think you stay in Abia State as you stay in Lagos. Barrister Ubani could have been received a threatening call from these guys. See, let me tell you, there was a time in this country, the whole vice president of this country says that I want to leave my immunity in order to clear my name in the court of law.
Yes.
Even though the law does not say he should do that, but he said it publicly.
That was how sure he was.
My immunity should be set aside. Yes, let me face the court. Let me clear my name. Those are the people who have integrity. There was a time in this country, that is Ubani, same your state. A governor, even the sitting governor of that state presently, during the electionary period, he dropped a whole trailer of kerosene to that state and beginning to distribute kerosene to people. Yeah. Where is the kerosene today? He distributed a liter of kerosene, 5 liters to them. We know that's for him to get their vote. And then when he got the vote now, we can only know himself, the atrocity that he committed now when he left the office, because he only have immunity now. So, Mr. Yori, let me crown it all. Now, the EFCC have a lot to do. I believe that the Speaker of Abia State of Assembly does not have immunity, including his father does also not have immunity. They should be doing their very investigation thoroughly before they take them to court, so that they will not have alternative to escape. Yeah. So the Abia people should be speak up. Whether you speak up, one day you are going to die. If we don't speak up, we are going to die. So we think that it's only God Almighty take life, not individual. Speak up, because you need development in that state. Thank and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
That was a good
Thank you very much. If it is indeed true that people are being cowed in Abia, but I don't imagine that people can. An Abian is not easy. You can. They say that a Nigerian can be cowed just like that, but it's okay if people say that. Look, it can be dangerous. We know, after all, even Uhuru Badu told us that if you fight corruption, it will fight back. We understand that.
That's right.
But we just thought that we'd address this thing today simply because it was a, stupendous amounts were mentioned. So much so that our friend Reverend Dominic had said that don't mind them, they don't have. I agree that they have stolen, but Abia doesn't have that kind of money. Such was the big mind-boggling figure. But then, why are people not asking questions where you've provided the answer? Perhaps those who are fashioning the whole war against corruption, maybe they should just add that, well, even though we go around as a civilized people, all of us, apparently they know that their own first duty is their own security. And if people feel that gathering together like this to say that this is not right and we demand an explanation, it can be dangerous, then I wonder what this whole fight about corruption is all about. Really.
That's correct. I agree with you, Yori. One of the things I also want to say before we close is that the strategy for fighting corruption, to me, is a bit faulty. We not only get those who are alleged to have committed corruption into the dock, we must devise a strategy where we make it very practically impossible for act of corruption to thrive.
Yes.
This issue of security vote, we've said it.
Yes.
It's not covered by any law. The issue of awarding contract, these guys can award and do anything and nobody brings them to account. We must stop all this. It's because of what is available to public officers is what makes them to rig election. They kill, they manipulate the electoral process. The moment we get it right with what these guys eat when they get there, we will get our electoral process right.
Let me take Kayode in the UK. That's our last caller today. Good morning, Kayode.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning. Ubani and my other guests there.
Yes.
Good morning,
now,
Mr. Adeyemo.
Barrister Ubani,
sir.
I want to congratulate him this morning
Yes, sir.
for the endorsement of Reverend Dominic. That is the way I see it. Reverend Dominic have endorsed your voice as a voice that cannot be neglected.
Right.
That is adding value to your status. I followed you a lot. I respect your supreme knowledge. I respect your patriotism about Nigeria.
Right.
And for today that you are from Abia, I think I respect that. I now second Reverend Dominic to further anoint your voice. So you have become an anointed voice. Reverend Dominic says he did not castigate you. I wonder how Brother Yakub and other people got him wrong. He said that you are a voice that cannot be neglected. So people like from London, I'm ready to support. I'm a Nigerian. I'm against corruption. And I'm ready to support you. I'm in Jebu. I'm from Southwest. So I'm in Nigeria first.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
So
sir.
whatever we are going to do, if you are going to champion that goal, we're not going to castigate people that are stealing money. We are going to campaign. I think the campaign should be for transparency.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Transparency is one
And
of the
objectivity.
instruments
Yeah.
to fight corruption.
That's right.
And that all citizens who feel concerned should join.
Yes, sir.
And just simply ask for an explanation. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Let's reclaim Nigeria.
Innocence is presumed.
Yeah.
But please explain, sir.
That's right.
How could the EFCC be saying these grievous things about you?
That's right.
You must have something to say.
I agree with you,
but
sir.
the fact that nothing is being said, either by the senator over in the National Assembly or the honorable speaker over in Abia, it is well. Let us not overflog the issue. I just want to thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much,
Mr. Sheyi Adeyemo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's my
And
pleasure.
Mr. Monday Onyekachi Ubani. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.